wooden ship, hundreds of miles from the nearest land, the ocean stretching endlessly in every direction. The water is dark, deep, and mysterious, and the slightest ripple feels like a warning. Early British explorers faced the same reality. Every shadow beneath the waves, every unusual movement, every unfamiliar sound could spark terror. They told stories of a megalodon, an enormous prehistoric shark, that lurked in the depths, ready to swallow their ships whole. And though no one can truly confirm the sightings, the fear these explorers felt was undeniable. Their minds magnified every threat, transforming ordinary ocean currents, schools of fish, and shadows into monstrous predators. This is the first lesson. Fear has the power to make threats feel bigger than they are. In life, it works the same way. When we worry, when we imagine worst-case scenarios, when we let anxiety control our thoughts, ordinary problems can feel like insurmountable obstacles. The explorers imagined Megalodon as like our personal fears. They appear real because we give them power. The moment you let fear dictate your perspective, your peace begins to unravel. Imagine a young sailor hearing the water churn beneath his ship. His heart races. He sees a shadow, and in an instant, his mind conjures a beast bigger than the ship itself. Every instinct screams to panic, to shout, to flee. But his survival depends on one thing: calm observation. He studies the water, watches the movement carefully, and realizes it is a large school of fish, not a giant predator. That moment of clarity saves the ship and the lives of everyone aboard. The lesson is clear. Most of what we fear is not as dangerous as we think. Just like the sailors, we need to step back, breathe, and observe before reacting. Panic creates monsters out of shadows. Calmness turns shadows back into what they truly are. Protecting your peace starts with this awareness. When you start seeing fear for what it is, an exaggerated story your mind tells, you stop giving it power. You no longer let imagined threats control your decisions, your relationships, or your life. The Explorer's story reminds us that fear is always bigger in imagination than in reality. And just like those sailors who survived, because they stayed calm, you too can survive and thrive when you master the first step, recognizing your fears and refusing to let them dictate your peace. As the explorers sailed deeper into unknown waters, they began to notice that the more they avoided confronting the strange movements of the sea, the bigger their fears became. Currents that were unfamiliar, shadows that seemed to move strangely. Every little unknown detail sparked a story in their minds. And soon, those stories turned into legends of a massive megalodon waiting to drag their ships beneath the waves. What they feared most was not always real, but it grew larger the longer they avoided facing the unknown. This teaches us a vital lesson: avoiding the unknown only magnifies it. In life, we often postpone hard conversations, delay taking important actions, or ignore the subtle signs of change around us, thinking we'll deal with them later. But the longer we wait, the more our imagination fills in the gaps. The unknown becomes a monster, bigger than reality, consuming our peace and energy. Imagine a young sailor noticing unusual currents near the ship. Instead of investigating, he hides below deck, hoping someone else will handle it. The crew whispers about what might be lurking beneath. Perhaps a megalodon, perhaps something worse. Fear grows because no one faces the truth. Panic spreads, decisions are clouded, and what could have been manageable turns into chaos. The lesson here is clear: clarity comes from confronting the unknown, not running from it. When you face uncertainty directly, you shrink the power of your fears. You begin to see things as they are, not as your mind imagines them. Just as the sailors who studied the waters and learned to navigate the currents survived, we too can protect our peace by addressing what we don't understand, rather than letting imagination create monsters. The unknown will always be there. New challenges, unexpected changes, unseen forces. But it only controls you if you let it. By confronting uncertainty with courage and awareness, you not only survive, you thrive. Calm observation, curiosity, and a willingness to understand what lies ahead are the anchors that keep you steady in turbulent waters. Life is a vast ocean, and fear grows in the shadows of the unknown. But just like the explorers who faced the deep seas instead of hiding from them, we protect our peace when we step into the unknown with courage and clarity. The waves will come, the shadows will move, and the currents will shift, but fear loses its power when met with knowledge and calm action. As the explorers continued their voyages, they began hearing stories from other sailors, tales of massive monsters, of ships being swallowed whole, of megalodons lurking just beneath the surface. These stories grew with each retelling, each sailor adding new horrors, new exaggerations, new fear. Soon, entire crews were terrified before they even reached the areas they feared. And yet, many of these accounts were based more on imagination than reality. What happened in the minds of these sailors became the accepted truth for everyone who followed. This shows us an important lesson. Don't let other people's stories shape your reality. In life, people around you, friends, family, society, often project their fears, doubts, and past failures onto you. They warn you about what could go wrong, exaggerate dangers, or tell you that someone or something will inevitably let you down. And if you believe every warning, every story, every shadow that others have painted for you, you risk living in a world of monsters that only exist in imagination. Picture a young sailor hesitating to sail into a calm bay because another captain claimed a Megalodon had attacked there years ago. His imagination fills in the gaps, and fear overwhelms him before he even sees the water. Yet, when he sails cautiously and observes the currents, he realizes the bay is safe. There was no monster, only a story that grew with retelling. Just like the sailor, we often respond to fears that aren't ours. We allow other people's doubts and warnings to influence how we live, how we trust, and how we protect our own peace. Assuming that he'll always be there, or that circumstances will always remain favorable, can blind us to reality. If we allow others' stories to take control, we begin reacting to imagined dangers, not real ones. We misread signals, misinterpret actions, and sometimes even push away the very people who matter most, all because we are living in someone else's fear narrative. The explorer's Megalodon became more terrifying with every retelling, but the shadow beneath the ship remained unchanged. It was only their perception that grew. The key is to see clearly for yourself. Observe, question, and understand your own reality instead of accepting what others project onto you. Protecting your peace means creating boundaries for your mind, refusing to let fear from outside stories dictate your thoughts, and trusting your own perception. When you respond to truth rather than assumption, you take control of your life, just as the explorers survived by focusing on what was real in the water, rather than the exaggerated legends. Your peace depends on discerning between imagination and reality, between what is actually dangerous and what is simply amplified fear. Other stories can warn you, guide you, or inspire you, but they must never control your perception of the people, the situations, or the life around you. As the explorers sailed through the vast, unpredictable ocean, they discovered one of the most important truths about survival. Panic is far more dangerous than the creatures lurking beneath the waves. When the shadow of a massive Megalodon passed under their ships, the sailors who lost their calm often made mistakes that could have cost them their lives. They shouted, rushed from deck to deck, and let fear take over. The ones who survived did not act out of fear. They acted with steady hands, sharp eyes, and controlled minds. Calmness, not reaction, became their greatest shield in the unknown. This lesson is powerful for us today. Life is full of its own deep waters, unseen currents, and shadows that feel enormous. Challenges, conflicts, unexpected changes, they all rise like waves threatening to pull you under. If you assume that he'll always be there, or that life will automatically remain stable, you risk letting fear dictate your every move. Just as the explorers' survival depended on mastering their own minds, your peace depends on maintaining calm, even when everything around you feels uncertain. Imagine a sailor on deck as the water churns beneath him. He senses something massive moving, something that could destroy his ship. His heart races, but instead of panicking, he steadies himself, observes the currents, and makes careful decisions. His calm allows him to navigate safely, to adjust the sails correctly, and to guide his crew through danger. Fear had the power to destroy him, but control over his mind became his armor. The same is true in your life. Moments of stress, doubt, or uncertainty are inevitable. People may disappoint you, circumstances may shift suddenly, and situations may feel overwhelming. But if you lose your calm, you give the monster in your mind power over you. Calmness allows you to respond wisely, and to act intentionally, and to protect your peace instead of letting fear destroy it. The explorers taught us that strength isn't about avoiding the deep waters. It's about moving through them with presence, patience, and focus. They did not survive by assuming safety or by expecting that nothing would go wrong. They survived because they trusted themselves, they trusted their skills, and they trusted their ability to remain steady. Likewise, peace is not about expecting the world or the people around you to remain constant. It is about cultivating your own inner steadiness, your own clarity, and your ability to remain calm no matter what shadows appear beneath the surface. Protecting your peace is a choice. It is choosing to observe before reacting, to respond instead of panicking, and to trust your capacity to navigate the unknown. Life will always have its deep waters and its hidden monsters, but you hold the power to move through them without fear. Calmness is not passive. It is the anchor that ensures you survive and thrive, no matter what the depths hold